Welcome to Zero Hit Points, everybody. It's June 5th. I'm Ryan Miller. He will stand for it. It's Matt Amber.
It's only because if I kneel, it's going to be on this like plastic stuff and it just hurts. So
Are you remodeling again over there?
no, it's my rolly chair plastic thing.
Ah.
You know.
But is it up? You're probably one of those people that just keeps it upside down the whole time because you enjoy pain.
Yeah, no, I sit on it. Yeah, it's my bed is a bed of nails.
Yeah. But it's just a upside down plastic thing for office chairs.
Yeah. You know, Beth has like a regular bed, and then I'm like 4 feet below that bed on the other side of one of these things. It's great.
I need to go back and watch some of those of my favorite videos. What was that? That might have been like 90s era funniest home videos where they put the plastic thing upside down in the hallway and they just have a bunch of people like, because it won't like break the skin, but it'll like everybody falls.
That just seems rude and cruel. I mean,
it's like my dream home.
And
it would be only those things upside down.
And I'll be honest with you, it seems like something that you'd hear out of a Home Alone movie that went awry. You know, like oh yeah, I put this thing down, and then my uncle fell and smacked his head right on the thing, and he went like, you remember that Clint Eastwood movie?
The paint can hit him, and he's like, "Why is there a paint can on a rope?"
He went $1 Million Baby on the bookends. And, stupid office chair thingies.
What spoofer was that it was a scary movie, wasn't it? Where they like everybody $1 Million Babied on like just one after another, like everybody kept dying like that. Like
was it that or
2-minute montage?
Was it the music video that they did on Saturday Night Live with that one song where they keep shooting everybody? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, but that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's a Lonely Island.
Yeah.
I think
it was really early. I think it was one of their first digital shorts.
That's a good one.
I wish I was wearing digital shorts right now.
We do a movies podcast on Thursday. Today it's 0 hit points. That means it's about video games. We don't ever plan that, and we can't ever get away from it. That's why we put it in its own spot so that we could
sequester it and feed it.
So if you want to hear about video games, you're in the right spot because we're going to talk about the ones we've played, even though I think I have a fat number one to talk about, and we just talked. Yeah.
Well,
that's how it goes.
Are we doing
normal radio speak?
We're not doing phrasing anymore. Good.
But surely you have more video games to talk about that will prove the validity of this podcast, both in a video game sense and to my mother.
I might, but don't call me Shirley.
The Naked Gun.
I don't know what's happening right now.
No.
What do you want from me? Tell me what you want from me. Tell me what you want. What you really want.
You want me to go first? I'll go first. I played more Burnout Paradise Remastered, and we've already talked about everything.
Did you finish all your online?
Yeah, but I think we did that last week even.
No, but you still had time trials or something, right?
I have like all the motorbike stuff, but
okay,
I'm just never gonna find like nobody's searching motorbike games. So
you completed all of the free burn challenges, the online stuff that you have to play with.
Challenges.
Yeah, you have to play with other people and in multiples too. Like because we're kind of doing this with my account, so you have to do like 50 challenges with just 2 people, which that's super easy because you and I can do it. But then you have 3 to 8. And you start getting into some of those numbers, and it starts getting a little frisky, and then you end up with people that either can't do it, don't want to do it, and so you have to cancel it, kick them.
They're out there.
Yeah,
it's a delicate dance.
What's going on? What's that guy's name again that I hate?
Oh, I don't know.
What was his name?
We have last week.
It began with an M, I think. You mentioned it last week.
We talked about Moe's last week.
He is just the worst.
I loved him bad this week.
I loved him on The Office. And I love that he created Parks and Recreation and also created Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Save it for Thursday.
Crap. Okay.
Turbo.
Burnout Paradise Remastered. So have you started any of the single player yet?
I did. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Do that.
How are you feeling about it?
There's nothing new to add. Like I'm super enjoying the single player. It still occupies that space of a Tony Hawk or, an Arkham game where I could just one more forever. Like I have to physically stop myself at 2-3 a.m. to be like, okay, normal people would be in bed and I want to enjoy part of the day tomorrow. So
yeah, no, I get especially again with Showtime doing the crash mode. Like I just want to do that all the time.
And they have the insidious, everything's insidious in this game. Do it on every road. You know, there's also a time trial on every road. And it's just like, I could go to bed. I'm on my way to like another actual, you know, just one more event. Right. But there's like 5 more roads along the way. And I'm like, oh, I'll do this on the way. And then, you know,
no,
3 hours later.
I think it's funny because this is super analogous to like Far Cry games for me.
Sure.
Where I just have to do the thing. Like it's just one more and I'll get there.
Did you got the story for 5, right? Yeah, we talked about the end of that. Did you ever finish 4? That's a better question.
No, I did not finish 4. It was totally that whole, I got so far into doing the side quests and then I just got to a point where I was like, I just
got enough game.
I hate this game now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I did complete another game though. I finally rolled credits this week on God of War.
I did get a chunk. I played like a 2-3 hour chunk, but I probably can't help you out here.
Did it do the truffle shuffle?
No.
Okay.
Chunk. That's the name of the.
There we go. Yeah. So I won't get. I guess I won't get too deep into it because we should probably have the convo when you finish it. But then again,
I will not bar
you're never
you from anything you need to get out.
So the game ended in a really. It has a really wonderful end. Like the actual finishing of the game where you get your like final cinematic and your final little bit, just absolutely incredible. Like the culmination of everything that you go through with Kratos and Atreus, and he turns into such a jerk at one point, and then if I have one gripe with the story, it's that part where he kind of. There's a moment where he learns more about who he is, and then he's like, well, now I'm that. Everybody else is stupid.
And we talked about
that. And it's the moment where he finds out he's a god, and then he decides, I'm going to be a god, and everybody's a peasant. And the way he comes out of that is really, like, it's not fleshed out enough. It's almost like there's just a flip and he's, oh, now I'm good again. And he can Peter Pan, you know, it's the bummer is that turn for him should have been a pretty monumental change. And it just kind of happens. It's not like, I mean, I guess when you see all of the cutscenes together, maybe you can probably extrapolate some deeper something out of it, but it just kind of does happen. And he suddenly is like, oh, now I realize the error of my ways. And Dad is talking to me now betterly, so we're good. You know.
The problem there is probably just plumbing the depths of fiction and suspension of disbelief, wherein technically any other person or in real life, that kid doesn't get out of that phase till he's, 21 or 2 if you're lucky.
Sure. and I mean, I'm not griping about how fast it happens so much as it's just that they could have fleshed it. It feels like that was something that could have been fleshed out more, even with dialogue. And it just isn't. Like it kind of is loosely laid on in some, like, it's loosely laid out, but like in this really heavy-handed fashion, like as why he maybe changed. But it's just
the execution is just a little
but again, going from point 0 to point Z in this game, and I am to the point where I actually am going back and finishing out some of the stuff that I haven't completed yet because the game was just that good, and I'm really curious as to what happens.
The lore is super. Like, I'm way into that.
It gets so good when Mimir shows up. Mimir is the freaking rock star of the game. Best part of the game, 100% of the time. I love the character. And when he shows up, like the minute he shows up, you just kind of are like, all right, this is how it's going. Like this is lore and they're doing it. And you do get, depending on how long you decide to row around in the Lake of Nine and stuff, you'll get more and more stories out of him. I puttered around the lake because he was telling stories, and I assume there's an end point to them, but you are not in the boats long enough if you're just going from point A to point B to hear the full thing. Because what would happen?
But you've never got any repeats? so far?
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
and
so cool.
It's lasted the entirety of the game for me, and it's the way it kind of works is kind of really interesting too. Is they built in a really really good transition. If you are in the boat, he'll tell you the story. But once you go to land, he won't tell you the story anymore because there's either scripted stuff or it just doesn't fit. It's it's like you're telling a story on the boat. It's something to pass the time almost.
Right.
When you dock or when you go to any of the docks or anything, he kind of immediately transitions to like he'll finish his sentence and go, but I'll tell you the rest of the story another time.
I've heard the game is super good about that. Also
like
with
that.
the stuff between Atreus and Kratos, like I've heard it does the same thing.
Yeah, they've got some good dialogue.
No, but like they have a very good system of dropping off and picking up in a way that you don't lose, and it isn't lost by combat or something like that.
And it is totally it's again when as soon as you get back on the boat, he picks right back up with like Atreus will give you a reminder. Hey, what were you telling me about the Frost Giant again? And then he'll say, cool. Oh, yeah. And then he'll continue on. So they did a really, really good job with that.
What's the guy's name?
Mimir.
Mimir. Yeah. Is he part of the Norse pantheon?
I have no idea, honestly. I never looked him up. But
he's the boat driver, I'm gathering?
He is not the boat driver. He is a character that is with you. Once you meet him, he is with you for the rest of the game. He is always with you.
Okay.
And it's... Again, it's one of those moments that's pretty early on. Once you kind of get out of the tutorial point, once you meet him pretty soon after you start the Lake of Nine stuff.
So I finished the battle with
Baldur.
We had to look him up because he was too familiar in too many ways. But it's the I think his name was Faraday on Lost. Is that right?
Oh yeah. He was great. I love that guy.
But yeah, finished up that battle. And made our way down the road. I think I'm like right before probably the next boss battle. So I don't know how close that is to Mimir or even the lake.
Once you get to the lake, it's pretty fast because he's integral to the story. Period. Like he is, okay. and you'll see how he connects kind of dots and how Baldur works into all of it.
I know I always say it, but I do want to power it out. Like I'm hoping this week maybe. Man,
it is got some like legitimately the side quests. While they give you, there are reasons to do them because they do give you runes and stuff that are. I don't know how randomized they are. They seem like they're pretty randomized. I don't feel like I got a ton of doubles. I feel like most of them were pretty unique. But you do stuff to get the runes, and there's a whole bunch of like little things that there are these ravens that you can kill, and if you kill all of them, you get something, but so there's stuff you do, and you could definitely mainline the story for sure. But I think that if you don't do some of the side quests, you're gonna miss out on some of the lore and some of the just what makes that game so good.
So this is driving me and my wife nuts because she's still watching, and we've been through all the menus like 2 times. Each time we get a new one, trying to figure out if we're able to use it yet. I'm guessing it hasn't been tutorialized yet, but we keep finding some sort of soft silver in coffins.
Yeah. Okay, so soft silver is there's like 3 currencies, and some of the currencies are not currencies that you spend to buy things traditionally. They're things that you give to the dwarves to upgrade. So
okay, yeah, that's what it is. It's some sort of dwarf silver.
Yeah,
like
so there is silver because you can buy things. You will be able to buy things from the dwarves, but you also pay silver to upgrade things. So
okay, I'm definitely still in the tutorial aspect of the game.
You haven't met the dwarves yet, and the dwarves also, again, some of the best lines come out of them, and they're so funny because they are. One of them's kind of crass and the other one's kind of like meek, and as they like the dynamic between them and you as you go between them is just really great, and again cool. some of the just background dialogue is really really funny from the dwarves.
Okay.
But again, it leads up to a fantastic ending. I actually had a moment of like, I put the controller down and I went, this is just incredible. And I wish I had a bigger TV. I wish I was wearing my headphones. And It's just one of those, like, it's an amazing moment. And I don't know if you're going to have it. You may look at it and go, this is really cool. But to me, it was just one of these, and it's right at the end. It's like right before you're kind of finishing up the game. It's one of the last little sequences, and it's just fantastic. And then the lead up to the next part, like, it just is super great. And
is this after you go home at the end?
This is before you get to the ending, and like even before you get to the part where you would go home, I guess.
Have you gone back home after the quote unquote ending?
Have I gone back home after the quote unquote ending? I don't think I did, actually.
It got semi spoiled for me, but I don't know what happens, but there might be a little bit more if you go back home, apparently.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. Because I don't think it sends you back home. Like, again, one of those funny things this game does is, so that we mentioned this early on. It's kind of been a known thing. The camera never moves. Like it never leaves.
Never cuts.
Kratos. It never cuts. Right. It's all one shot. And even going into like New Game Plus or whatever it is, like, or going into like finishing the world or whatever, it still follows. Like it never cuts away.
That's cool.
It's really great.
That is cool.
And again, like I said, the ending, fantastic. That the last fight, it's not. It was fun because it really does turn into that, like, everything you've accumulated, all of the skills you've kind of accumulated, you kind of get to unleash, and it works in such a way that I didn't lose the last fight. But if I had, I still would have gone back and been like, I wouldn't have been angry like the other fights, like that I've had to do. Like, that would have just been like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this a totally different way now. I'm gonna change up my runes. I'm gonna change up the powers just to screw around. Like, because you can do that. You can do like his special moves. You can swap what they are, and you can buy some of them, which is another reason to catch the silver.
I just found my first one. Yeah, I do have a ton of hack silver.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
You're gonna want that. It's good.
Super happy to hear the game lands its ending, though. And as far as the combat goes, that first battle with Baldur is setting the stage to the point where you can't mash your way through it.
No.
Like, I was pretty happy to find out that even the very first battle, like, you need to come at that from a direction. You cannot just,
so
light or heavy attack your way through it.
Here are the two things that I wish I had known at the very beginning and actually focused on doing. And I'll tell you, because it significantly helped me out about 3/4 of the way through the game. I went,
okay?
Oh, I've been doing this way wrong. Get used to using the D-pad, the down D-pad, to look behind you, and using the arrows that tell you where people are attacking. And one of the things that you will quickly learn if you start paying attention to those particular things is you will learn to know who's on the field with you and what they can do, and which if your dodge will actually work, because some of the enemies you can dodge. The dodge doesn't necessarily work because the thing seeks you out or whatever.
Other attacks, the shield is useless.
Right. Well, and the shield is really almost more of a. There's only a few things you use it for defensively. It's really more of a parry system, or to break a shield break on somebody else. Right, I didn't find a whole lot of, like, it's not one of those things where if you hold the shield down, it's really advantageous for you. You move super slow, and in a lot of cases, it just kind of breaks you out of it, and you're slow to attack. If
you're just blocking, it seemed to, again, just from the first battle, it seemed to stun. It didn't. I don't know if it's a straight up stun, but if you just sit there and block to the point where the enemy completes its attack, like, there's still a cooldown for you afterwards where you're kind of taken aback, and then you get back in the fight. So
right. And it is that the parry is very necessary.
Tyler Perry?
Huh?
Steve Perry.
Yeah. Wait, I thought we weren't doing any more Journey psychouts.
Luke Perry.
There we go. Luke Wilson.
Wilson Phillips.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I feel like that wins, and I don't even know why, because I don't know what game we're playing.
I don't know either. God of War is good. Yeah, get used to the using the down D-pads, because it's an immediate turnaround, so you look right behind you.
Linda Perry.
There you go. That would have been good. Four non-blondes. What's up? And again, God of War. Good
God
game.
of War. I will finish it. I'm sure we'll talk with it. Maybe we'll, now that we've kind of got through, I feel like a lot of the bulk, maybe we'll just have a quick spoilery thing about the ending once I finally get there or something.
Yeah. And so God of War and the gameplay in that, for whatever reason, I had a weird, oh man, I want to play Bloodborne again. I got that weird itch. And I put
the Bloodborne itch.
Yeah, and then
See your doctor.
I had to go to a doctor for it, and it's you remember that movie Outbreak? I'm the monkey. Patient zero. So I put Bloodborne back in, and for whatever reason, I don't know. I had my first like few minutes with it were a real trial because it's been a long time. So I couldn't remember what all the buttons were and all the maneuvers and everything.
I cannot imagine.
It's actually not that bad because there's not a lot.
Really?
There's not a lot of stuff in terms of like how that stuff works. It's all pretty much like it's almost the same as God of War. It's not a lot. There's just there's a lot of little things that are not explained. Like you'll get an item and it doesn't tell you ever. There's no clue on where or why to use it as far as I could figure out. I looked it up one day and it was like for a boss that I killed before that would have made it way easier for me.
Right. Par for the course. That
right.
Sounds like.
But after like an hour or so, I ended up it kind of came back to me and I kind of figured everything out again. And I don't know if it was just the God of War or what, but for whatever reason, again, and this is the second time this has happened, where I left the game for a long time. I came back to it and things clicked and things made sense. And I was kind of able to play it a little bit better. Same thing. Like I come back and now more things have clicked and I actually ended up in places I have never seen before, which was really, really cool. Like I was able to take a spot that I knew of, go a different direction. And that was amazing. And I just, again, this game is one of those games where it is frustrating to die, but on the same token, it is so rewarding to play. Like it is so rewarding even when you die, to go back to that same spot, kill whatever killed you to get your blood echoes back, like your currency. It's awesome. Like you kill that guy and you get like 12,000 points back and you just get up and scream and punch your TV, you know?
I don't, but I can imagine.
It's such a good game. I really do love it. And again, that like aesthetically, that is one of the coolest worlds that I've ever seen. Yharnam is just such an incredible environment. And to the point where they actually did, or they're doing a short run Bloodborne comic. And I was so interested in it that I started reading it. And again, they're adding to the lore, but they're like so much. So they're using the environment and it looks great. And the book is okay. It's a little rough in some places, but it looks amazing and it's fun to read, you know?
So this is the dumbest story that anybody ever asks about Bloodborne, but are you able to pick up the story? Like, is that important at all where you're at? Like, is that...
I don't know if Dark Souls is the same way. The story is not super, like, it's not like super forefront. There is reason to why the hunt is happening and why the creatures are there. And you have this place that you can go back to that is essentially your safe haven. It's where you upgrade stuff. It's called the Hunter's Dream. And when you go back there, the world repopulates. So everything comes back except for big, like major bosses. So there's some characters in the Hunter's Dream that tell you stories and that you can get dialogue from. And all of the items have lore to them. And the other thing actually is like there are characters in the world that are not only, they're like NPCs that are, you can't even see. There are doors you can go and knock on, and sometimes they'll say something helpful to you. Other times they'll just they give you a hint about almost like it's they laugh at you, and you can hear there's like a party inside while all this death and destruction and awful stuff is happening outside. You know, like that, like the whole debutante thing, and so you do get this really interesting dynamic in the world. But it's almost like your character, your hunter, you just came into the world, and this is what you're here for. You're here for the hunt.
So it's not necessarily plot driven.
Really, no.
Like.
I mean,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a you're trying to the ultimate plot being you're trying to save the city. You're part of the hunt. You're a hunter. You're killing these things because they're bad.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. I mean, that's a dumb question because that game is pure gameplay, really,
and it's terrific.
Stronger for it. Yeah. So
like again, all the aesthetics, the character designs, I love it. I freaking love it. And going back to it again after God of War just feels so different and just it clicks more. And I'm actually looking forward to moving forward, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, because that is one of the things the game doesn't do. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't tell you what to do. Like you just kind of have to keep going until you figure it out. And so I'm having to retrace steps and relearn the map and relearn where everything goes. And it's been fun. I mean, it's again, frustrating, but fun. So
I admire those games from afar. Like I'm not even going to say I'll never play one of them, but I like what they're doing. I like the space they occupy historically.
Yeah, I'm actually, this is, I don't know if this has been apparent. I know I've mentioned it before, but this is my first Souls-like game. And if I can finish this, I may go back and check out the remaster that came out of Dark Souls.
Well, I was going to say, freaking, Dark Souls remaster just came out, right?
Yeah. Give the precursor a go.
Sure. I haven't actually heard anything about that remaster. If it's, I guess I haven't heard anything bad or like horror stories, but okay.
We're an informed video game podcast.
Did you play anything else?
I did not.
Well, then tell me this. How much do you want to talk about Fallout 76? Our resident Fallout enthusiast, master, scholar, Matt Amberg.
Again, hubris is always my downfall.
Whatever. It's one of top 3 franchises of all time?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. In the ballpark.
I don't know. There's not a ton of information out there. There's some reports that it's relying, or it's being inspired heavily by Rust and like DayZ.
DayZ
so
was the one they threw around.
It's gonna be online. We figured that out right away. We knew Schreier from Kotaku mentioned that almost immediately.
Again. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like this takes place, I think it said 100 years or 500 years or something prior to Fallout 3.
So Fallout 76 or the Shelter 76, I guess, has a place in Fallout lore.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They can do this with every number in the world.
Well, apparently this number has been mentioned before.
They can. Fallout 6,423,000 is filled with ants wearing little Pit-Boy outfits.
Man, that actually makes me want to play a Fallout game.
Sim ants.
Okay, this is from the Kotaku again, Schreier. Vault 76, which has been mentioned in both Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Vault 76 was meant to open just 20 years after the nuclear war, allowing for far less civilized setting than previous games. Fallout 3 and 4, which are full cities and settlements, both take place over 200 years after the war. So
there we go. And so the Rust component here is the base building. So it's going to be a lot of that.
And they'll be rusty.
And I hope there's a dong slider in this game. Don't let it go. Don't let Conan and Rust be the only ones.
Wait, is that a new White Castle burger?
The dong slider. I like that you cracked yourself up for so long. You had to work to get that out.
It works on so many levels because it's White Castle, so they might do it. They might have already done it. Actually, that's probably the internal naming convention for just a certain type of sliders towards the end of the month when they're running low on supplies.
58 dong sliders. It sounds like a terrible Jerry O'Connell sequel. Dong sliders. It's like the adult version of that stupid show. Like, it's not a stupid show. I love that show.
It's even better. It's just, I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface of this yet. Yeah.
Oh man, we are like that band that had Justin Timberlake in it. We are in sync.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if that's
cycles are sync.
Yeah. So Fallout for me is very solitary. Like it's something that I want to experience on my own. I don't know that I want to be involved in some jackhole's other version of the game where he runs around lighting himself on fire with a Molotov and then suicide bombing my entire house. You know, like not super into that. But
have you ever been into, like, did you play Rust or DayZ? Have you ever done a survival?
I played DayZ. And you know, I played it when it first came out, when it was a mod for Arma, and I have never played it when it got its standalone client. But yeah, I mean, it was so buggy and messy then that it wasn't a really great. It was fun for what it was, but it was also just, like I said, really buggy, and it was super overly complex because Arma is like a human sim. You know, every key on your keyboard is assigned to a muscle in your body, and it's just
the one that was literally built by the government for recruiting purposes, kind of type thing, right?
Never play anything the government gives you.
No, they're just after you. So here's what if it ran like perfectly? Would you see, is this a genre that interests you?
Not terribly. I mean, that's the other thing. I'm just not super interested in it, but we'll see. Like, let me see what else comes out with it, because we don't know yet, so I don't want to say it's a never I'll play it.
Well, give it a Fallout skin, have it made by, an accomplished studio.
Yeah, let's give it to EA.
I'm speaking of Bethesda, makers of popular games such as Fallout.
Oh.
And
let's give it to Ubisoft. We love Ubisoft.com.
I haven't been to that website in so long.
Speaking of Ubisoft,
really? So
it's too easy. Come on.
I didn't know if you were done with 76.
I am.
So,
I'm done with
big day for keychain makers. Funny story. When I saw this thing break, I heard keychain, and I thought it was just some outlet semi incorrectly speaking about a blockchain. I thought there was some sort of like hackery, like Bitcoin.
The keychain has been broken. We're all going to die.
We mined some information on the chain, and we found out that the next Assassin's Creed game is Odyssey. No, it was literally a keychain with a picture of a little Greek helmet on it that somebody figured out the next Assassin's Creed game. But it's since been legitimized by Ubisoft that this is the next Assassin's Creed game that will be coming out in the fall sometime. People are surmising.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. We're going to get 1,000 videos of people screaming, "This is Sparta!" while they kick people off of buildings.
Yeah, that was the only image they used with their confirmation tweet here. It's somebody kicking a dude Sparta style off of a cliff.
So you're into this then?
So the only sentences I have about this are that if they're going to do a discovery tour, which was their educational mode that they did for Origins, that I bought the entire game for, I will buy it again.
So if
it has a discovery tour.
So it sounds like Ubisoft is going back to the yearly model on this one too.
That sucks. Whatever. I mean, it was always going to happen. If at all possible, they will do that. But again, if they're going to keep putting the educational mode on it, I'm into that for now.
I will be interested to see if they keep that up or if that ends up being a one-off thing that they're like, this was not worth it.
I'm very interested. More interesting.
I know we got to bring it down a minute. We've got some sad news today. As of September 3rd, Evolve servers will be completely and utterly shut down. Rest in peace, Evolve. You were loved.
By me, at least.
NetEase dumps $100 million into Bungie, and Bungie comes out and says, "Hey, guess what? Nothing's gonna change, man. We're cool. Destiny's cool. It's fine. We're with it. We love Activision. We're into
reading
them."
The press release word for word. Right
yeah, this is like so. NetEase is a Chinese company that has
Aren't they all?
They have a fantastic track record, I assume, of
I have no idea.
having lots of fingers in the pie, apparently.
Sure, probably.
And so they decided to invest 100 million simoleons to grow the company into a quote multi-franchise studio. But no, guys, don't worry. Destiny's not going anywhere. We're committed to it. We believe in it. If we can make you Guardian, we're going to make you Guardian.
I just think the statement is funny, and this is a quote. It says, if you are a player of Destiny, this news won't impact the hobby you've come to know. And I feel like every Destiny player right now should be like, no, wait. No, you can spend some of that money on Destiny. That's totally cool. Like, do something more with Destiny. That's fine. I wasn't really worried about that when I heard you guys got $100 million. But I guess we'll see.
So for all you Bungie or Destiny fans, this is the part where we play The Price is Right. Like, wow.
Why? What's?
Oh, because that $100 million ain't going back to Destiny, man.
No.
Destiny
okay.
is they are going to, and they even alluded to it. They're gonna keep with their contract with Activision and work on Destiny. They'll have the team. But now you could tell just from this, they want to become a multi-franchise studio.
Right.
So you got to think that they know that Destiny 2 didn't do great. Do they want to continue on with Destiny 3? Do they have to? That's the other question.
That is a good question.
Do they go with their own brand new IP again, and or maybe they all quit and they become 343 and they make Halo again?
Destiny 3 is a weird prospect. You're right. Like, I feel like that was certainly the idea from the beginning, but as they've kind of carved out their own space within that genre, I mean, again, I'm just going to call it an MMO because that's at least the cloth it's being cut from.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, what is the contract with Activision? Considering this is an ongoing kind of services-based platform, like Destiny 2 was kind of a weird enough thing, but more understandable because of how much of a fire Destiny 1 was, But Destiny 2, not necessarily a fire. Like, you've got your complainers out there, but by all accounts,
fire.
No, I don't think. Like, I mean,
dumpster fire.
No, I number one, like, okay,
it's not a dumpster fire.
Everybody was hot and heavy on that thing when it came out. Like, Destiny 2 was everywhere, and people seemed to be loving it, and certainly admitting it was better than the first. I think if anything, there was kind of a precipitous drop off, you could say, if you were a little inane. But I don't know if it's Destiny 3 killing bad. I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't. I have a hard time believing Bungie takes $100 million and invests any significant amount into continuing that franchise when the first game, like you said, came great. The second game, hot and heavy when it came out, and then the same complaint everybody had at the same time was there's nothing left to do. Plus, a whole bunch of systems were, a lot of people seemed unhappy with that, and as the game has progressed, they're doing the same thing that they did with the first game, which is they're slowly quote unquote fixing it or adding in those quality of life improvements. But I don't know, like it certainly seems like that game burned a lot of players, and I don't know that a third one is going to bring in the amount that they need. Like, I don't know if they've got enough goodwill, especially after that. It's kind of I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think they have the goodwill. I think it's just a matter of how many people, like even the people that like Destiny 2 aren't just like, okay, like that you did it. Like, you finally got the good one out. Like, what does Destiny 3 do, I guess is what I'm saying, especially as far as that platform goes. I'm wondering, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, they've still got planets that they can explore. The story for Destiny 2 is obnoxious.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's more of the same though. I feel like Destiny 3, they have to do something.
They've got to expand the light. You become the traveler. Everybody is the traveler. You all have to move at the same time. Like, everybody is on one screen, and you can't go too far. It's like Gauntlet or like it's like Lego, except it doesn't do split screen. It's got that boundary.
Single screen instances.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
MMO.
And you're all the traveler.
I'm curious if there's some, because the way they talk about it is that, the money being for multi-franchise stuff, and don't worry, Destiny's going to be fine. Like, I'm wondering if that's part of the deal. Like, you'd have to imagine that deal wasn't like, here, we'll give you a bunch of money to work on this game that you already have a publishing partner with, Right. Like, it might be earmarked for something different, which I think is smart. Like, I think that's a good company to give that to. Like, Bungie, as different as they are nowadays, has kind of proven themselves to be able to, their culture, the culture at that studio at the very least has seemed to produce and both endure, so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I like speculation, so I hope they spend it all on hookers and
Speculations.
blow.
Yeah.
Oh, also that. And in terms of so going from one money thing to another money thing.
Yeah.
This is just so stupid. I don't know what they're trying to get out of this, but PUBG Corp is going to sue Epic.
Is suing
for IP infringement. Their claim is, quote, "This is a measure to protect our copyrights," end quote.
And the citations I hear most of all are about weapon designs and user interface.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I can see how your user interface is completely not the same as this one, and it's different because your backpack is different, and this only has the things on top, and the guns, oh my gosh, is a scar a scar is a scar? Maybe it is. Do you think, did your game copy a scar from an actual scar? Because then maybe the scar company can sue you. You think about that? Did you go get that licensed, PUBG Corp? Did you? Tell me.
I don't know what the
this is frivolous as
here.
balls, man.
I mean, it's in South Korea, number one. And yeah, it's so specific, reportedly, about these two things that seem like the least defensible things, like weapon design and interface,
Right, and then the funny thing is that Fortnite gets to come back, Epic gets to come back and go, well, when it was just a single player game, the inventory was exactly the same. It hasn't changed. And also, we have an entire other menu for building. So where's that, PUBG?
You got to wonder if it's a way, because the most skeevy thing about that whole thing, remember when Fortnite Battle Royale got announced, was that PUBG uses Epic technology, right, to make their game. So the skeevy thing was like, well, did Epic use some of this with their stuff? I feel like that's the thing. That's the lawsuit you expected to see. Well,
and I think that
there was
came
crossover where there shouldn't have been,
I think
or something like that.
I think that came up originally a while back, and it was just going to be a non-starter, or it was a non-starter. I don't know whether I don't remember if it went to court or not. But this just seems like they're doing anything they can do right now to stem the tide, I guess, of those players, because they're losing a lot of players.
But they're not even losing enough that, I mean, PUBG's holding their own. It's not like they're, down in the dumps like Underdog, Ghost Town. They're still making probably millions of dollars even.
Maybe, but it's apparently not enough, because they're desperate to try to get back to that Fortnite level, to where they were originally.
It's not as much as Fortnite for sure.
Well, I mean, no.
Fortnite's given $100 million to strangers that promise to do things.
But then
sports.
But then also remember that Fortnite is free, and all that's happening right now is people are just giving them money hand over fist for a free game.
Right.
So
yeah, that's weird.
PUBG,
and the fact that it's going on in South Korea is kind of like, are they testing the waters? Are they?
Well, yeah, and
it's easier there, or what's the?
It's not gonna matter here, I don't think, but still. Stupid.
And maybe that's what our problem is that we're viewing this all through the United States lens, where
America,
video game litigation has been wildly indefensible. Even you have to get super specific. They stole an asset. Nobody's making any cases on genres, or because the whole industry is super iterative. People are releasing better versions of a game that came out that wasn't theirs all the time.
Yeah,
everybody's building on everybody. You stood on the shoulders of giants. I don't know why I went to a Trump for a Jeff Goldblum quote right then.
Ugh.
We are wildly out of control here. What else happened this week?
That's a good question. What else did happen this week? Something terrifying right now.
Okay. All right. So Square Enix, this is the headline is throwaway, but they came out and said that the Go series, so Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go, is done. Not going to happen anymore.
So they've gone.
Oh, dang it. I haven't seen one headline to that effect, and it's amazing.
So this is the
now that you mention it.
State of games journalism, my friend.
It's sad.
It's
real sad.
Toilet flush sound.
Lots of sound effects this show.
It should be.
Probably. I don't know.
I hope so.
We'll find out.
Turn the soundboard on, baby. Let's have some fun.
So, quote from Square Enix says, it's one of the challenges we have today is the premium mobile market is diminishing. And when they say premium, they're talking about basically the opposite of free-to-play, where free-to-play is download the game for free, or freemium, as some people can't help themselves but say. But they are the charge. They're the model I enjoy the most. Like charge a one-time fee for an entire game experience, right? Apparently, myself and or you, I don't know if are you a free to play? Are you a freemium or are you a premium, Matt?
I can go any direction. It really depends on the game. Like I purchased Hitman Go.
It's true. Wait, you got Deus Ex too? I think.
And I got Deus Ex Go. That's also true.
Well. So most people don't like that, it seems, and
pay money for your game. That sounds dumb.
And Square Enix says that doesn't mean that they won't spend in game, but they want to spend on a game that they're sure they're going to like. The perception of choice makes it that even if it's only $5, that's too much. So, what's your experience and or thoughts, Matt?
I like that you got real McLaughlin group right there.
I don't know.
Matty the Meatball Amberg. What do you think?
I like it. And I liked the Go games. And I like it when people create whole experiences that I don't have to. Like free to play can be done right. Okay? I'm sure.
It's the issue with free to play, especially with something like this, is that you are almost universally going to be underpowered for so long until you get to a point where you're like, oh, now I've got enough currency to buy the thing. Like that's what it is. That's what happens. And yeah, I mean, this kind of screams out to me the same thing that you hear when people are like, no more single player games. Like we're only going to do multiplayer games. You're telling me nobody wants to play a single player game. Like, no, there are people you just, maybe it doesn't make as much money. I don't know. It just, I like that. I like having a game and knowing that I bought a game and I have the game. Here it is. This is the whole game. I got it.
Weird, right?
It's very odd.
And that $5 is the freaking cap. Like, and maybe this just speaks to the entire
millennials.
Everybody has a freaking phone. Yeah, everybody has a phone. Like there's probably enough people that they can do a $5 game, but the vast majority of people in the world appear to think that $5 is too much money.
Hey, you go to Subway, get a $5 footlong. Go to Little Caesars, get it hot and ready.
Now, in that case, it's not enough money, my friend.
You're not wrong.
Hey, speaking of Subway, we are going to PAX. I didn't even have that on the agenda. We got our PAX tickets. Hey,
oh, yeah,
that's exciting.
Okay.
You didn't go last year for mostly monetary reasons or a combination of...
It was a variety of things. I had other things on the docket, and I had earlier vacations. I just didn't have the time off. And I, part of it was, frankly, I just needed a year off.
And we've had discussions kind of ad nauseum about what PAX has turned into at PAX more often than not, it seems like.
Yeah.
So
because it reminds us, and we're there and we're in that culture, and we go, man, this is different than what I wanted it to be, what it used to be, what it could be. And
But you had your year off, and you're willing to brave some of that this year is what you're saying.
Okay, you gotta spend money to make money. That's what I always say.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard on a Zero Hit Points podcast in my entire life.
Booyah.
All right, so I'm looking forward to PAX. We're looking forward to PAX.
It'll be fun.
We got tickets. Come say hi. We'll figure it out. I think we're gonna probably still. We've kept things pretty low key since we were down to 35.5% capacity last year. I think we'll probably keep things a little more low key still this year.
Because now we're at probably no meetup. 700% capacity.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens.
14 people in our hotel room. Shh! Don't tell anybody.
Right.
We're smuggling Paxers
on those podcasts. Are we gonna do a cast in the room every night?
I assume so.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
Dude, that's on you.
Logistics. Bring your mic.
Yeah, we'll figure. Okay. Whoa. Calm down.
I said your mic, not your camera. Bring your camera.
Calm down.
Okay, why don't we move on? What about that?
That's fine. Let's finish this all out and go to the capper.
All right. Tell me why.
I feel better about that part, by the way.
Okay, good. What part?
The capper.
Oh, okay. You should feel good about it. The capper is kind of the thing at the end of the show where we like to talk seriously about a subject.
Yeah.
Like adults.
Not like Andy Cap.
You're right. That is what we named it after, isn't it? This week, it's about this Atari thing that's been haunting us for, I feel like, at least 3 separate podcasts. It pops up, they talk about it, it goes away.
We get an email that says, hey, please give us money so that we can do this.
Because the Atari VCS is what they've come to call it, is this mini console thing that they made all these grand promises about, that they were going to still, maybe even strangely, crowdfund.
Right.
And did launch that campaign, and it blew through to, I think it's at like 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Currently. Let me update this for you so we have the most up-to-date information.
Real-time information.
2.5 million and 4,000. So there you go.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Making the dollar bills. Good job, guys and ladies at Atari.
Which is surprising for a few reasons. Number one, I feel like every time we've talked about this, it's kind of been in at least 2 different capacities. It's been in, well, that's weird. Like, remember when they had the whole announcement? They were like, this thing's going to be under 300, don't worry. And we were like, under 300?
Yeah, what is it?
Going to be $50.
Yeah. and they recently put out that it's going to be built on Linux. So in theory, you're going to be able to upload your own stuff. This is going to basically just end up like, it goes back to, I think this is where you're headed for this. Kind of goes back to the Ouya thing, right?
Yeah, well, so that was the other thing, is they kept talking about how it will run Linux, but also it's going to have Netflix and all this stuff. We're like, what? It's just every time they announced the thing about it, I was like, who is this for? Like, why?
Right.
What space is this occupying? And I think now that they've released the Indiegogo with just a ton of information on this thing, like architecture to operating system and everything, it's starting to make a little bit more sense. And yeah, it's hard not to think about the Ouya, because there was that time where the Ouya came out and it was like the second freaking coming, and everybody started making their own Ouya, except for maybe Ouya, who made but there was kind of an immediate bubble, right? And I feel like it was this grail of homebrew, but also, I don't know, maybe that's the point, is I don't know. Like, I feel like that was amazing to a lot of people for some reason, and then that kind of died. And then this thing has come along, and I'm like, well, what space is this trying to occupy? And then it makes $2 million, and I'm like, okay, is this the continuation of that? Like, are the people that bought the Ouya still looking for whatever they're looking for? And this is kind of the latest one that might fit that niche a little better. It's
really weird, right? Like, I remember how much hype and everything was behind Ouya, and when it was like kickstarted or whatever. And people were into it, it was exciting. And then after the Kickstarter was done, that's when people started going, oh, okay, wait a minute.
That is indeed.
Wait, because things started changing. Like they had to make concessions, things change when you go from concept to production. And I remember seeing it for the first time in a store, and it felt like it was way after the thing should have been released.
That thing made it into a store?
It was on Target, and it was on the bottom shelf, and it was next to the things that look like old consoles, like the Sega Genesis that has like 60 games on it, and
the Atari controller that you plug into your TV.
Exactly. It was right down there with that stuff. It was like, and it was already slashed in price.
Well, hey, that's a freaking clue right there.
Right. And so it's like, and those, I'm sure they sold them, but again, who was that ever going to be truly for? Like, what was, because I guess I always felt like that was something that if you wanted to be a developer, this is a good way to go. Like, get this box, figure out how it works, develop a game on a free platform, plug it in here and try it. Like that
right.
was kind of what I always imagined anyways, that it would be used for primarily, because I could never see it being somebody's like, you're not going to use it as your primary gaming machine. You're not going to use it as your primary computer. You're not going to use it as your primary
maybe
anything.
not even maybe not even your primary Netflix, which seems like maybe the easiest sell. Like people use the craziest things for Netflix.
And it's like,
tell you.
Oh, I believe it. But yeah, like there's no chance that's going to usurp like an Xbox or a PlayStation or anything like that, because you have a billion other things at your fingertips there, whereas with the Ouya you've got not that.
And I mean, it's not impossible to see the NES and the SNES Classic kind of feeding into this, like
sure.
I'm sure that fills some of that space, but those were also very kind of
they're specific
devices. Yeah. So
we are really in sync today. Back streets back.
All right. So they call this thing a console. They talk about how it's Linux based. They talk about it's homebrew ready. Like they want people to do stuff with this thing. Like that's a selling point for them.
Right.
Is this another kind of halfway step? Like is this kind of one of those things? Is that what we're looking at?
I don't think so. And part of the reason I don't think so is they even mention it in the article that they're trying to avoid being a Raspberry Pi. And what they basically have built out is a Raspberry Pi. It's just a really, really, glorified Raspberry Pi, but it's still ultimately it's all it is. I'll be curious what else this thing can actually run. Like is this going to actually be able to run current games at all? I just don't think so. Like it's not.
I mean, they do say current games, but like current games.
What does that mean?
Well, the only one they talk about is Tempest 4000, which I think is
great. Hit me with Skyrim at full res graph, bro.
Yeah, see, I don't think they get there though. Like they have the specs. Like it's got a Bristol Ridge A10 with a Radeon R7. Other things I don't understand. 4 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM.
Yeah, like
it's definitely more than a Raspberry Pi, but
yeah, but like I said, it's they're glorifying it. It's a Raspberry Pi plus, with an Atari logo. But hey, it comes with like 100 Atari games.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, like it looks better than I thought. I mean, obviously we didn't think a whole lot of this thing, but
still don't.
It kind of looks gorgeous. Like the ribbed design is not just a design. Like you've watched the video, they pull that thing apart. Like it's a series of ribs put together.
Yeah, it's not just it's like it's for your pleasure.
And the controllers, like that new joystick looks freaking rad.
Doesn't it?
The gamepad they make, the thumbstick on the left is an orange button. It's not a button, but it's a reminiscent. Like they've done a lot of cool stuff with this thing. And I guess I could see like a lot of like how many people out there are just like, did you see like Atari's doing the new Atari?
Right.
Oh my gosh, did you see it? Like how many clicks do they get on that alone?
No, these are all valid questions, and I mean, you're right. Like I think the thing looks cool, and I just can't for like $299 for their Uber version of it, and then this $150 or $199 for the lesser.
That's still a thing.
Either way, that just seems like a lot for something that I just again do not understand. And maybe after a little while, once the Indiegogo campaign is done and all that, we'll get a better picture of where Atari sees this going and how it fits.
Once that's in somebody's hands.
But I feel like this is something that Atari has bungled from the beginning with that whole email blast to anybody that's ever signed up for anything with Atari. Hey, we're trying to make this. Please give us money. And it wasn't an Indiegogo campaign. It was like, click this link to give us cash. It was that bad. And then, so I don't know, man. I hope it works out, I guess, for people that want it to work out. And I'll be looking forward to seeing where this fits in the grand scheme of games and the gaming world and all that.
I will say this.
Okay, say it.
If that thing had a cartridge on it, like a cartridge port, I would have already bought it.
That's fair. I think if it had a cartridge port that actually worked and took 2600
but for 2600 carts, I guess
4800 or 72, it's got to take all three. So
that's the capper. That's the show.
That's it. We're done with it.
Don't think about it too hard.
You might have a brain thing.
You might have a brain thing. We don't. What are we talking about next week? Do you have anything?
I don't know. Probably, I'm going to try and get through more Bloodborne. And I got some
maybe finish God of War.
Yeah, maybe refinish God of War. I probably try and pick up some State of Decay too.
Right.
It's been a little while.
I saw you posted something about them patching that thing.
Yeah, they've got a 20 gig patch coming pretty soon. It might be this week. I'm not sure. I didn't catch the date on it.
Just for glitches, quality of life stuff?
It's all that. Yeah, it's supposed to fix some multiplayer, it's supposed to fix glitches, some quality of life stuff. Yeah, it's
they overhauling anything like gameplay wise?
I don't think so. I think the gameplay was pretty solid. It was they fixed. I think it was mostly glitchy stuff.
What if we wait till that thing drops until we hook up?
In fact, that's the plan. I also shout out to a friend of the show, Rabies. She's been playing the game too, and figure after the patch drops, we can get some games in.
Sweet, let's do it.
Yeah, if anybody else wants to play State of Decay 2, let us know.
Yeah.
Hey, come back on Thursday. We got Book Club for Movies. We're talking about Pacific Rim Uprising this week, and if you've heard anything about that movie, you should hear it from us, because that means you wouldn't have heard. So if you haven't heard anything about that movie, you should hear it from us. That's what I meant to say. Got it right the second time.
Yeah, sure. No, it's all fine. I haven't heard anything about that movie. I have no idea if it reviewed well or bad, so
we can find out
be fun all
together.
The way around.
It'll be fun. Hey, check us out, 0HITPOINTS.com, podcast at 0HITPOINTS.com if you've got questions, comments, concerns, and if you have concerns, please let us know what they are, and if they are regicide, press 9. I don't know. I think we're done.